Hello, hello there. How are you? You watching this particular presentation. Casey Zeman here. I hope you're well. I have my good buddy, Greg Hickman is here as well, founder of System LY. Now, we are just starting this presentation. Come on in the room. You're probably going to be starting to roll in right now. Very first thing you can do is just type into the chat, the question box below in this room, where you're from. There we go. Sounds like it's live. I can hear it. Awesome. Okay, cool. Let me just turn down my own. There they are. I just turned myself down. So there we go. So you should be coming in right now. As I said, go ahead and fill in and let us know where you're from. We're excited to have this conversation, geek out about some things as it relates to kind of the best funnels ever in the world out there, which of course are webinar funnels. And this is a presentation for you if you're someone who is an already existing EasyWebinar customer, or someone or someone who has Infusionsoft already, because we're going to be talking about 3 funnels that are kind of the creme de la creme of webinar funnels. They are the purest and best, in my opinion, best funnels for automation. Many of you know that we sent out an email yesterday for Cyber Monday, and it was about a new service that Greg is here below me. He's under the film strip somewhere. Greg and I put together so that everyone can experience this wonderful combination of both Infusionsoft and EasyWebinar. For those of you who do not know, EasyWebinar is actually inside the Infusionsoft marketplace, and we have a serious deep integration with Infusionsoft. And as such, that's what this presentation is going to be pretty much about. So it's not only going to be for those who have already come through, because we only have 5 spots available for those who are Infusionsoft and EasyWebinar customers to come through. But awesome, we have Darren who just came in. Cool, Darren, welcome, man. Darren, you're from Garden Grove? Wow, I was just over in Garden Grove this last week because I sang at the Shepherd's.
You sang?
The Shepherd's Grove. Yeah, I was singing. I was singing there for like a Christmas show. Anyway, yeah. So Darren, you're one of the folks that came through. So welcome. I'm glad to have you here. So this is going to not necessarily be an intake call for you. You're going to have your own time with Greg, where you guys will kind of get everything together. We'll import those funnels into your system, things like that. This is mostly more about like why this service, what is this service about, and how it's going to benefit you. You locked yourself in early, which is awesome, and that's terrific. But that's exactly what this is, who this is for. So just be aware of that. Greg, why don't you come on and I want to introduce you. I want to bring you in and kind of talk about how you and I got together, because you and I have we've known each other for a little bit here. And let's kind of dive in and talk about like why you are now this like Infusionsoft guru, which I'm, and I know you were just at the Infusionsoft partner, that conference just recently, that kind of workshop conference. I'm sure you gained so much information there, but why don't you explain to folks a little bit more about you? And we have, guys, a presentation that we're going to go to, but I really wanted to make this a kind of very visual, so you can ask questions about this service from Greg and myself, but also to kind of talk to us. So while Greg does that, I'm going to kind of pull up the presentation so we have something that we can share with you.
Cool. And so obviously if there's any questions along the way, feel free to submit those, and there will be time at the end, most likely for questions as well. But Casey and I met through a mutual friend, John Lee Dumas of Entrepreneur on Fire. And I'm in a mastermind group with John and Rick Mulready, who's a Facebook advertising expert. And we started doing a quarterly destination mastermind, like 3 to 4 times a year. And earlier, what year are we in? 2015, we did one in Montana, and Casey joined us, and we got to hang out for, 3 days. I got some skiing in, and we did a lot of great masterminding. And, at that point, my business was kind of in a different place. I had a marketing agency that focused on mobile marketing, and had been using Infusionsoft myself for about 2 years, and was using it in my own business for webinar funnels, for delivering free courses, lead magnets, and more importantly, automating a lot of the service offering that we were kind of delivering to our customers, both the kind of free consultations, the onboarding of new customers, and delivery of the service. And I just saw how powerful the automation factor was, of how it reduced a lot of the time that it takes for me to not only deliver a service and a really good experience, but also start generating revenue without me having to be on every single call. So as I was kind of getting more and more into Infusionsoft, I decided to go get certified because I was really geeking out over it. And in June of this year, I ended up getting certified after, using it for 2.5 years. And kind of coming out of that, I fell even more in love with automation in general, but obviously I was using Infusionsoft myself. So now I knew all this stuff and was ready to take it to the next level. And when people like John heard that I was doing this, they were like, hey, can you help us with this campaign? Can you help us with, our funnels and automation? So quickly that business, which is now Systemly, system.ly, kind of just took off and was born really only, 6 months ago. And, since then we've had the pleasure of working with about 18 customers on a monthly recurring basis, where we're developing their sales funnels, taking care of all of their automation, really offloading a lot of that stuff that they were trying to do in their business when it came to Infusionsoft, and in some cases, some other platforms that we're now supporting, so that they could focus on what they were good at, which is, creating content, engaging their audience, creating products, and delivering their services, and not having to worry about the headaches of, figuring out something like Infusionsoft, or how to take this idea that they have and implement it. And at the same time, look at what they're currently doing and make sure that leads aren't falling through the cracks. Kind of the Systemly business, our kind of motto has become no leads left behind. And, we work as marketers, as entrepreneurs, we work hard to get people to opt into our list. And, for many, and you'd be shocked at probably how many, that after they go through a couple emails, if they even have that, they're just left there and go stale. So, we look to optimize that. And, some of the campaigns that do a really good job of taking even a cold lead and turning them into a customer are webinars. And obviously Casey has tons of success with them. That's probably the #1 campaign we build for our customers. Obviously they're all customized. Everybody has their own version of webinar, but we're going to be talking today about kind of the 3, as Casey said, creme de la creme go-to webinars that you could be implementing in your business, leveraging both Infusionsoft and EasyWebinar. Now, the concepts that we talk about obviously can be executed using, another automation tool, but for the sake of what we're doing with our beta service that we're rolling out to the 5 of you, which are now 3 left, I believe, it's all about EasyWebinar and Infusionsoft. So, how was that, buddy?
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. So, and this is true. Now there are a couple things that are specific to EasyWebinar though, when it comes to some of these funnels, because some of the funnels are going to be these really cool, like you start with a live event, then you go to a rebroadcast, and then you go to a replay, and not a lot of different software can go from live to automated in the same way that we can. So in that regard, that's why it can be somewhat specific, but you're right. I mean, it's, the Infusionsoft stuff, the campaigns, they would just need to be tweaked in order to work for a different system other than EasyWebinar. But obviously, because we're so dialed into what EasyWebinar can do, these funnels are lending themselves perfectly to it. So that's why we wanted to go through this particular presentation, this slide presentation for you, to kind of talk to you about what this is and what we're going to be kind of covering. So the agenda for today is to essentially tell you who we are. Okay. Sorry. Can you guys see everything? Sorry about that if you can't see anything. But who we are, why we're doing this, who is this for and who is not for, and what you'll get in the beta, how it works, and then any questions you may have, okay? So who are these guys? Well, chances are you probably know me already because you're on my list, but I'll say it again. I'm the founder of EasyWebinar, best-selling author of the book Build Your Audience with Live Video, and founder of EasyWebinar and Fullscope.tv, which is another software that we just rolled out in the last 2 months. I've also consulted companies such as HarperCollins, Estee Lauder, Dell, and has built a 7-figure business around information products and software. Now, EasyWebinar has about 5,500 customers. Amongst them are John Lee Dumas, Rick Mulready, Amy Porterfield, Melanie and Devin Duncan, all of whom I believe, use Infusionsoft with their EasyWebinar campaigns. Mm-hmm. So Greg Hickman, the other cool guy in glasses next to me here.
With curly hair.
Virtually next to me and with curly hair, I might add, is the founder and CEO of SystemLY and Systemly. And he just told you a bit of his story, but what he does essentially is done for you sales funnels and automation service for entrepreneurs and small businesses. Mm-hmm. He supports Infusionsoft users, Drip, and ConvertKit. So he actually not only does Infusionsoft, but he actually can work with a couple of those other cool CRM systems that are popping in now that are very, very popular, especially with podcasters and bloggers and things like that. Some of the clients of his are Entrepreneur on Fire, of course, Eventual Millionaire. That's Jamie Tardy, right?
Yep.
Yeah. The Amazing Seller. What's his name?
Scott Volkler. He's like his in the top, I don't know, usually top 25 business podcasts. And he does a webinar every week. So he's full on webinar guy.
I'm in his Facebook group. So, just like about 1,000 or 20,000 other people.
Yeah.
So, then there's Chris Ducker, who's a good guy. I love Chris.
Great guy.
Of course, there's more. There's more for me too. But we're listing off kind of these top influencers. But listen, I mean, we have so many people that we've helped out. Small businesses. No one is too small. No one is too big. And that's kind of how I always look at that. It's good to kind of let everybody know that, it's not just about the influencer who can make money at this or do well with these funnels, but it's literally anyone who has any type of business and webinar that can be sold to promote that business. Totally. So we're essentially doing this because we want to save a lot of time in getting set up and running your campaigns in Infusionsoft and EasyWebinar, because that's a sticking point. A lot of you might be going through these pain points of like, okay, Infusionsoft, a little overwhelming, right? You may be having that moment. Or EasyWebinar might be slightly overwhelming too, maybe a little less, but then you're like, how do I incorporate this? How do I link these two together? And that's really what you're going to be getting with this service. This service is essentially here to kind of help you navigate and actually use Infusionsoft instead of using 0.11% of it, like about 85% of the people that use Infusionsoft do. We want you to actually be able to use a good portion of it. You'll be getting our proven webinar funnels that convert for us and many of our customers, and you'll get to focus on creating more amazing content for your audience and customers while we do the heavy lifting. So you don't have to worry about I mean, it's good to kind of know what we're doing, but you don't have to know how to do it, right? You just kind of know, okay, this is what the funnel looks like. And part of this is like understanding a little bit more about how Infusionsoft can work for you. We have these campaigns that are pre-done already that we're populating, boom, right into your system essentially, and then customizing them. So you're going to learn a couple of levels to this. You're going to see that those are in there, but then you're also going to kind of get an idea of how all this works. It's going to be better in the long run for you as a business owner and someone who's an Infusionsoft and EasyWebinar customer. So,
and to that point, obviously, Casey, you've been running webinars for a long time. We've run a bunch of webinars and built a bunch of different webinars for our different customers. And there's just tons of different ways that you can do this, right? And like depending on what tools you might have been using in the past, the great thing about combining something like EasyWebinar and Infusionsoft is that you're now able to really customize the post-webinar experience based on the behaviors that a attendee or someone who missed the actual webinar but still registered is going to experience. And you can get very granular with, people that clicked certain buttons and, just didn't attend, and make sure that their experience is very customized to what happened between when they registered and, when the webinar ended. And, some platforms don't really allow you to do that. And I'd say EasyWebinar probably takes it to, the very customizable level. So you really can focus on giving everyone what will feel like a very personalized experience.
Yeah, and so what we'll do here is we're going to show you actually one of these campaigns. You're going to see what it looks like once it's imported into your system. And I'll probably share my screen to show you the Infusionsoft integration with EasyWebinar, because that's another level to it. Mm-hmm. As Greg just said, it's all about the follow-up sequence that you can do with Infusionsoft. See, EasyWebinar is perfect for the front end. Then the follow-up is how you can even increase your sales even more. And it's all about targeting the follow-up. So instead of sending out a message to the people that, to everyone who came, you can now say, okay, well, if they missed the, event, they can register again. Or if they, if they came to the event but left early, you can serve them the replay, or, whatever. It really serves it puts them on a specific path to them, but it's all automated, so you don't have to do anything.
Yeah. And I don't know what you've seen from like a results perspective, but I know across the webinars that we've done and built for our customers, even in our own business, that depending on the price point, we actually typically see a larger portion of the sales happen during the follow-up than on the webinar. Obviously, a lot of people today will register and they know they can't show up. They're just hoping for a replay, or something comes up. We all have busy lives. But the follow-up can, in fact, generate more sales than the actual live event. So again, having this set up to address all of those different scenarios in an automated way, can help maximize the profits for you as well.
Yeah, exactly. I always say this: if you're just doing one live event, you're missing out on 4 times the actual income that you could be making from a webinar funnel or webinar promotion, because of all the different types of ways that you can offer up the webinar. Most people only do 2 of what I call the event launch blueprint, and that's normally a live event and a replay. But what we have in these funnels is we have all 4 of what I call the event launch blueprint, which are live events, rebroadcast or encore events, replay events, and then automated webinars. And one of the most powerful funnels is the automated webinar funnel, because it is essentially the automated sales funnel that you would use for any traffic source, whether that's Facebook, whether that's sending anyone from Google, if you have any AdWords set up in Google, and any sort of paid advertisement, and or I want to just send people into this streaming workshop. Boom, that is one of the most powerful funnels out there, because it's automated. It still has engagement, still builds that know, like, and trust, but it gets them into the funnel. And then you have all those wonderful, as Greg pointed out, those different follow-up sequences that can go out depending on what a person's action is. So this is for you if you're currently using both EasyWebinar and Infusionsoft, or you're either ready to purchase one of or both. Okay, if you've been thinking about getting these things, you've been thinking, I really need to up my game here. I really need to get serious about what I'm doing here. I need to get a CRM system beyond the MailChimp or what have you. Right? You may have a typical autoresponder, but maybe you want to up the ante a bit, right? You're ready to do this. And, for me, I got Infusionsoft back in like 2009 when I didn't even have a business yet. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to get this CRM system. It took me years to actually start using it the way I wanted to. But, so I wish I had a service like this back in the day that I could have hung my hat on, because right now with what Greg and I are offering for this beta, especially right now, this is like lower than anything anyone ever quoted me back in the day. Like I was being quoted like ridiculous numbers, although it makes sense because building out a funnel is not the easiest thing in the world. And Infusionsoft technically is not the easiest thing in the world. But once you at least get the hang of some of it, you'll realize that you can create shopping carts with it. You have affiliate programs with it. You can obviously you can create email campaigns, you can create broadcast campaigns, all sorts of other stuff. And then by being able to integrate it into products like EasyWebinar, now you're able to create engagement funnels with Infusionsoft, which just is essentially how you can sell your products, your business on autopilot. So this is also right for you if you have a product or service that sells on webinars, or at least comfortable doing webinars. Chances are you're probably doing a webinar already. You've either, you maybe have a live webinar that you've sold on. This is going to be perfect for you because we can take that live presentation, maybe repurpose it as an automated webinar, change some things around with it, or use it actually in one of the funnels that we have for a live presentation that incorporates some of the other aspects of the rebroadcast, which can increase your income from your webinar presentations.
And one more point on that is, if you are one of the folks that doesn't have at least Infusionsoft yet, for this service, obviously, we can help you get set up. We can actually probably save you some money on that setup too, but that will be something separate above and beyond kind of the fee for the white glove beta. So, if you have like a bunch of MailChimp lists and that needs to get migrated and you're ready to move over and you're ready just to take this to the next level, awesome. We can help you do that, but that's not going to be included in this price, but we can take care of you. So if that's the holdup, let me know and we can help you out.
Yeah. I see that Alan asked something. I'm already an Infusionsoft user, but interested in webinars. Is this webinar useful to me, or is it based around selling the whole deal? I don't quite know what you mean by selling the whole deal, but yes, this webinar would be useful for you because if you're already an Infusionsoft user and you want to use webinars to sell, EasyWebinar is the platform that will allow you to sell your webinars. Infusionsoft integrated into EasyWebinar will give you that, essentially the sales funnel to be able to sell your products on autopilot, especially if you're doing automated webinars. Now, if you don't know what an automated webinar is yet, maybe we'll touch on that, but that means that you probably don't have, complete experience in the webinar world as of yet, which is fine. It's just about kind of getting familiar with that. I have different funnels and different courses that teach all about webinars, from live webinars to automated webinars, so that you can really understand what it is that, how webinars can be used in different funnels. Essentially, an automated webinar is a pre-recorded webinar event that you can use that will stream out a webinar presentation in real time. It has that look and feel of live without you being there. You can still answer questions. People can come in. It has that level of engagement, but you don't have to trade your time for money, so to speak, right? It's working for you. And some of the top, people online who have, very successful money-making funnels use automated webinars. So, and many of them are EasyWebinar customers. So I just wanted to explain that to Alan. But here's a little bit about who this is not for. If you don't have EasyWebinar and Infusionsoft, or don't plan on getting it, if you hate webinars, this is probably not the best product. This is probably not best for you. Or your product and services don't sell well on webinars. Now, this is not your fault if they don't sell on webinars. This is probably just something you've not had taught to you. And included in our program is not how to create a high converting sales webinar. I want that to be very clear. That would be an entirely different cost, of course, to come in and kind of learn how to create a high converting sales webinar, because that takes a little bit more time. But if you have a webinar that has sold, that, we might have to just tweak here and there, or give some suggestions on, say, hey, if we're going to automate this, these are some things you should probably do with this, or re-record it and things like that. That's okay. But if you don't have something that's really selling well on a webinar, this is probably not going to be the right package for you. What I would say is this is the package that you get after you figure out how to create a high converting sales webinar. And I will have a link for those people who are wondering about that. How do I create a high converting sales webinar? I have a free mini course that I can send you into, which actually give you a lot of those skills right out of the gate. Okay. But just be aware that this is more for someone who's already sold on a webinar. Or if you're someone who doesn't have a product or service yet, this is probably not going to be the best thing for you, okay? Okay, this is what we're doing. So if you guys are just getting in here now, let's just quickly explain what we're offering up here, Greg. Mm-hmm. We have a beta done-for-you service right now, which includes we'll give you our top 3 webinar campaign templates imported into your Infusionsoft account. We will custom build one of these 3 campaign templates for you from both your content, from your content in both Infusionsoft to EasyWebinar. So we'll actually build out both sides of it, right? So there's not only the Infusionsoft side, you have to understand there's also building out EasyWebinar. So the EasyWebinar team will handle the EasyWebinar setup. The system lead team will handle your Infusionsoft setup. And the beta is essentially a 60% saving on an early bird price for this white glove done for you service, essentially, is how this is working. And these are the campaigns that we are going to be doing for you. There are 3 of them. We're going to custom build one of them, but we're going to import all 3, right? So you're going to have all 3 available to you. So the first one is the live webinar with limited time replay. Okay, this is the traditional yet very, very successful funnel that essentially is all about a live webinar where after the live webinar, there's a timed replay for about 2 to 3 days, depending on how you want that follow-up. We will give you suggestions on what to do during this, but chances are, if you're someone who's been doing webinars, you understand things like fast action bonuses, what to offer during a live presentation versus what to offer during a replay. We will give you some of those suggestions if you're not doing it. That's just probably the organic thing that's going to be happening as we build these out. But just realize that hopefully you have some bit of knowledge about these things already. The other one is the Evergreen Webinar with Encore presentation, which we love. This is my favorite one because this essentially is the creme de la creme of automation. And this is the one that we would prefer to do for you because this is what you can attach any paid traffic to, if you're at a conference and you want to have someone go into a funnel, you send them into this funnel, right? This is the main funnel where you build your list and make sales. Okay, bottom line, that is that one right there. The live webinar with Encore presentation is the third one. And so the first one and the third one are both live webinars, but these are primarily funnels that you can use for any type of promotion that you do with a JV partner, let's say, right? If you're going to do a JV partner promotion and you want to maximize your sales, that's where these top and bottom funnels come into play. The evergreen one is that kind of longevity, that one that creates the passive income. Okay, does this make sense? So these are the 3 campaigns that we're going to be rolling in for you. And Greg, do you want to mention?
Yeah, so I just want to clarify the kind of the imported into your app. So kind of Casey alluded to this, but I just want to make sure that this is pretty clear that you're going to get these 3 campaigns. We're going to work with you to customize one of them. And obviously in that process, you'll learn some of the things that you need to do to customize the other 2. But what you're kind of getting is very much the framework that is connecting your EasyWebinar setup to Infusionsoft and all of the automation behind that. And a lot of that is powered through how you set up the tagging. So these campaigns will essentially have all of the tags imported into your app, set up within the particular campaigns. If you want to change the names of the tags, you can. But when it comes to the actual content within the emails, so say you send an email after the webinar and you say, hey, everybody, here's the link to the replay. By the way, there's a special bonus. That copy, for the ones that we don't customize with you, you're going to have to create that yourself. You're gonna have to go in and write, update the email templates in Infusionsoft so that it's obviously your voice. In the one that we're working on with you, one-on-one, we're gonna be kind of working with you to get that copy and making sure that it's kind of placed into the campaigns in the right places. So again, you're gonna get one kind of where we're actually working together to make sure that once we're done, that you can literally turn it on and go. And the others, you'll just have to go in and make sure you're, getting your copy in there and all of that stuff.
And the cool thing about this is that, this is kind of higher level. So, when we do work on that one customized campaign for you, you're going to know, okay, well, so this email is going out to all the people that say registered excuse me, but didn't come, what am I going to say to those people, right? You may have questions like, what would I say to those people, Greg? And Greg would be like, well, you would kind of say exactly what you just said. Hey, I noticed that you didn't come to the presentation. Right now, you can actually register for a rebroadcast or encore presentation that we're going to be running tomorrow. Come click here to, come directly into the broadcast, right? So this is going to, you're not only going to get, obviously the campaigns and done for you, but you're also going to get help with understanding, how to create the copy for the follow-up. Now we want you to do this in your own voice, and this is not necessarily us, creating all the copy for you, but we will have kind of example copy that essentially you can use if you want that, or you can kind of take it away and make it your own personalized thing. But we're gonna be working together to kind of get that into the system. Exactly. Now the thing about this is that this is a beta, so you're helping us to figure out our workflow, okay? Because we are also, we're gonna figure out, okay, well, does this, right? Because of the fact that we're offering a 60% discount, we're going to realize pretty soon here that we're probably not making much money on this with the 5 people that we're rolling in here, because of the fact that we may be spending more time with you than usual. That's why the normal price is going to be about $7,500 when we roll this out at the full price. But as such, because it's beta at $3,000, you're going to be getting, you're taking advantage of like $7,500, $7,500 of, one-on-one work essentially, and campaign building. So just realize that this is kind of like this as a beta. We would hope that you just, help us with this workflow. Plus we're also wanting, we're wanting to get testimonials and case studies from you. So, it's in our best interest to do this well for you so that you can use it and say, this was awesome, these guys rocked, and this funnel is killing it for me, that type of thing. Okay, I'm excited to show this. This is Greg's mastery right here. It's like full geekdom right here, okay? This is a campaign in Infusionsoft. And this essentially is what is going to be working. Now, hey, feel free to take a screenshot of this. For those who are, if you want to take a screenshot of it and try to do this yourself, go for it. But I'm going to tell you right now, it's not that easy. But definitely take a look at it. Excuse me. This is, I think this is the automated webinar campaign, just based on what I'm looking at here.
Yep.
And then there's variations of it at the bottom. Greg,
yeah,
do you want to kind of...
I can talk to this a little bit.
Why don't you kind of talk about what we're seeing here? Because this is typical of what you get in the campaign builder of Infusionsoft. For those of you who are brand new to Infusionsoft, or have tested out campaign builder, but maybe you're not quite sure how to build it out. Well, this is how much you can, this is how, like, when you start using it, you can do cool stuff like this. And this is one of the most... This is the cleanest campaign I've ever seen. Like, I've seen campaigns that are look like
a spider web.
They look like a starry night. Okay. Where it's like, you can't tell where things are going. And this is super clean. This is one of the things we do. And this is one of the things Greg clearly is like, he's all about like, I got to make sure this looks really clean and refined, because if he can't use it, you can use it. So Greg, I'll let you talk about it.
Yeah. So this is essentially the shell of the auto webinar campaign. And there's kind of, the foundations, so to speak, of this campaign. And then after we have our conversation, we'll dial in exactly how it's going to be customized, which potentially a fair amount of this might change. But really what's happening is, people are registering and they're either getting confirmation emails from EasyWebinar, which is what we recommend. But again, after the webinar ends, EasyWebinar is kind of applying specific tags. So what you can't see within these sequences is all of the names of the tags that are being applied, removed, and used to move someone through from left to right in this campaign. So obviously that's what you're getting, a lot of all of these tags already created. So again, with the auto webinar, you have and EasyWebinar, you have the capability to message people based on them attending, not attending, watching the full, leaving early, clicking on a call to action button, etc. So you'll see that kind of we funnel those into a handful of different experiences for the people based on their behavior. How are we going to follow up with the people that were there and didn't buy, that never showed up, that showed up but left early, or clicked and didn't buy? Now, you might not need to do all of that. You might want to just have, hey, I want to message people that attended and didn't buy and didn't show up at all. Like, that's obviously the most bare bones version of it. But if you want to add little layers here and there into it, we can totally do that, obviously, as you can see here. So yours might not need as much that's going on here, but as we work together, we'll dial that in. And then the other two, they look very similar, but they're obviously leveraged in a different way for the live webinar with the limited time replay, and also the live with the encore presentation. So this is just kind of a sneak peek of what it'll look like once it's in your app.
Brilliant. Yeah. So exactly. This is exactly what will this is what's going to be worked on. So just realize that. Okay. How it works. If and when approved, and paid for, we'll have a launch call to get all the details we need. So the folks that already came through, you should have gotten to a page where you can sign up for a scheduled time with Greg to kind of go through the intake call, right? And that's essentially the launch call, right? To kind of get an idea of what kind of funnel you want to build out, the one that maybe we suggest, and then the follow-up. And then we're going to be asking for different assets from you in order to start doing this, like login information and things like that, so we can pop these funnels in. We'll build out the campaigns in both Infusionsoft and EasyWebinar for you and ask any questions we may have along the way regarding your business and webinar. We'll identify the copy we need and or show you exactly what we need your input on, okay? So this is a very communicative experience, and it's because we need to be able to build it out with your voice. So it needs to have that. There has to be a lot of communication. So chances are we'll probably either create a Skype group or Skype something with you, so that if there are things we probably need, we need to be able to get that when we ask for it. And we'll probably have milestones that we want to have done by a certain period of time with that as well. So we would ask that you have certain things done by X amount of time. So there's a lot of what's the word I'm looking for, Greg? Accountability in this, right? So you're having to be really accountable for getting these things done, because we are going to be kind of doing it with you. So, it's not only just about getting that funnel in there, but then it's about, we need your video. If it's going to be an automated webinar, we need that pre-recorded webinar video. We need, the copy, but we can do a lot of the build out for you. We just want, a couple things from you. I mean, you'll see that we can kind of add a lot of things. And even with our, very, our own copy, we could rock this out. I mean, just be aware of that. Like, I just did a webinar funnel for Mr. Ryan Lee. I don't know if you guys know Ryan Lee, big guy in the sort of the I guess, exercise world, right? But now you're right. But now in fitness world, thank you. Fitness and nutrition. But now he has his own like coaching and things like that. Anyway, I built out his campaign. Took me about, with EasyWebinar, I built it out in about, I did it myself instead of my team. I did it in about an hour and a half. He had it running. The next day, he started making sales. As soon as he started running it, he started making sales right away. So essentially, it's something we can definitely do for you. Just be aware of that. You're probably going to get one of my team to kind of build out the EasyWebinar stuff, whom I've taught to do this. I'll probably review. That's another thing you're going to be getting. You're going to be getting my hands-on stuff too. I'm going to be reviewing their work. And then Greg is, of course, going to be reviewing his team's work as well, and getting on a call with you. So again, this is really hands-on stuff. So just be aware of that. And because of that, this is what we're asking for: your patience as we dial in our process for the best delivery of this service to more people when we open the doors publicly. honest and constructive feedback on how we could improve the delivery of this service. And we'd absolutely love a testimonial if and only you're happy with the service. But chances are, because of the fact that we're going to be giving and devoting so much of our own personal time, the main thing is that the reason we're discounting this at such a huge amount is so we can pay our team and then also get a good case study testimonial from you after we get you set up. That's the goal here. We really want to help you, which obviously benefits us, because if you're successful, we're successful. So that's the name of the game. And, I've shown this maybe before if you came to the page, but these are some of the folks that we've helped out, obviously. Here are some actual quotes from these wonderful people. John Lee Dumas, he said, "Casey is responsible for igniting my online trainings, leading to 7 figures in sales and growing every day." When he sent that, I was like, hey, man, that's a great, thank you so much for that. I really appreciate that. That's a very great case study. So I didn't prompt him to say that. And then Melanie and Devin Duncan, who have a really successful business. Everything Casey does is quality. His teaching is authentic and actionable, and his EasyWebinar software is working incredibly well in many of our businesses. He cares about his community and getting results, and was hands-on while we were getting set up with his software. If we hit any snags, we know that at any time Casey will be coming through. Something like that. I'm paraphrasing because I'm reading super fast. But anyway, that's Melanie and Devin Duncan. There are a lot more people like that both Greg and I have worked with, people that that are really doing well in their business, and also people just that are not, say, top influencers as well, or people that aren't necessarily in this particular space. So we can do funnels for literally any type of business that you have. These are, of course, are businesses that sell mostly info products. But if you have a physical product, if you have a digital product, if you have a service, if you have a, maybe, as I said, an e-commerce business, this can work for literally any type of business out there. That's right. Correct, Greg?
Yeah, absolutely. We work with, again, we focus a lot on online entrepreneurs, but we have accountants that run webinars, which at the end of the webinar, people request a free consultation, which then they're closing on the phone, which, is one use case. We've worked with SaaS companies, that sell software. Obviously our testimonials are all video based, so there's no text, but obviously we talked about John and Kate from Entrepreneur on Fire. And then here on the right is Melanie Ramos. She's runs a site called Sexy Food Therapy, and she's based out of Canada and is like constantly on like mainstream Canada like television. I think it's like their NBC show, and she's always like sharing health and kind of more very health related information for women. Very specific niche, and she sells a lot of different like detoxes and training programs. And she just launched her first membership site with a webinar with one of the campaigns we created for her, and it was actually her largest launch to date. So that was awesome to hear. Again, webinars are awesome, especially if you have that personality that people can resonate with, and you're good talking with people and things like that. So just some great people that we've had a chance to work with, and they all literally rely on webinars. And then, you mentioned John, but John, knowing John for as long as I've known John, like he started, obviously wasn't making a lot of money. And he's like, you know what, I'm going to do a webinar a week. And he did a webinar, at least one webinar every week for a year. And not only did he just get better at webinars, but he started building a massive audience, massive email list. And those webinars started converting pretty quickly to the point where he was doing, 20 to 40K per webinar, and he was running one a week, right? So you can obviously do the math there. A large part of John's success is based around webinars, and he uses both Infusionsoft and EasyWebinar. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and what's cool is he actually started then using EasyWebinar to run his automated webinars, because he found that even running one webinar a week was kind of it was I guess a little difficult for him. That's not too bad running one a week, but we automated the entire process, and now he pretty much, I think he only does maybe one a month, or maybe now two a month.
Yeah, I think he does like one or two. And actually, so because we kind of help him and support him with his Infusionsoft needs, we kind of get to see a lot of the behind the scenes stuff, and we run a lot of tracking and analytics for him. And while I can't give the exact numbers, I can tell you that the combination of live and automated is really, really powerful, which is why, you know, Casey talks about the one that we would prefer to implement is sort of the automated with the Encore. This concept that kind of Casey has put together is really, really, really powerful. That, like, we noticed that the people that have attended at least an automated and a live are much more likely to convert. And like, we've seen it time and time again over John's webinars versus just the people that only attend automated or only attend live. When you start combining those two and they get both, they've seen like their highest value per customer, value per subscriber or registrant as a result of that. So just some really interesting insights there that we've learned over the time.
Exactly. And that's kind of like that's kind of the benefit. And that's some of the things that we're going to be doing, because the cross-pollination of, you know, a webinar and even a mini course. I mean, there's, you know, what I tend to do is oftentimes I send people, if they don't buy anything on my automated webinar, I have a follow-up where they go into my mini course where they can still consume content. And I learned this from Michael Hyatt and Stu McLaren, that the more content someone consumes, the more likely they're going to buy. I mean, that's just the bottom line. So whether it's a PDF or whether it's, you know, something else of value, the closer the more you give them something of value, the more they're going to buy. So sending people into different workshops and different ways of consuming the content is going to be powerful. And that's kind of some of the things you're going to be getting here. You're going to be getting that knowledge. We're going to be looking at some of the assets, and Greg can even say, oh, well, why don't we just send them into this, you know, when we're done, right. You know, like we really do get geeked out in the sense that we've seen this stuff before. We know what works and what doesn't work, and how to kind of do this follow-up so that they are more likely to buy, you know, consistently on, and hitting on all cylinders on that.
Yeah, a good example of that and the stuff that we're going to get out of working with you one-on-one is, you know, understanding your business a little bit better to make those strategic recommendations that will make sense. Because, like, if you know John's business, like, that wouldn't be a shocker to you if you understood that his products that he's selling even off of his auto webinars are like $1,000 plus. So if there's cold traffic coming into that, while it's a webinar and you get to, you know, learn and feel, you know, John's presence and energy, you get to know him a little better, that's still someone that potentially came from cold traffic. So one 45-minute, hour-long webinar might not do it. So looping them back in that follow-up, incorporating an encore presentation, which might be live, the replays, all of that stuff, which is what we're talking about here, can actually increase your sales, especially if you have those higher ticket items. That might not be as necessary if you're like, hey, Greg, Casey, we have like a $47 product, you know, we might make a different recommendation. So again, with the service, you're going to get that kind of hand holding of, hey, based on your business, what we know about you and what you've told us, here is the best implementation that we can recommend. And then
you can essentially going to get collective knowledge of people that have built out, you know, 7-figure funnels, like, you know, maybe even into 8-figure funnels, you know, based on our collective data, you know. So we know exactly what we're looking at when it comes to, you know, what pricing you should be doing. If you're thinking about trying to sell a webinar for $47, that's not going to work quite well. Again, that's why we want to, you know, work with someone who already knows a bit about webinars. If you don't, we can give you little tweaks. That point, it's going to kind of almost be like a coaching, but we can definitely give you tweaks and say, well, listen, this is a better pricing structure for this. And, or, you know, if you're someone who sells a service, you know, let's get them on maybe a application base for your automated webinar. So you can even create, if you're someone who has a service or a coaching and you want to take them through maybe a survey funnel, that's another one that we can do. That is actually something we can tweak within some of those funnels that we just shared with you. So as that's just an example of that. You know, if you're a consultant or a coach, we could make a tweak and say, well, instead of selling on the webinar, why don't we send you into a survey where you fill out a survey and then there's a follow-up sequence to determine if you're right for this or not, right? That's an example of how this can be refined and tweaked based on what your scenario is, right, and your product. So yeah, I think that's what I'm sorry, I was just noticing, I was just looking to see if we have any questions. So that's some of the things that we can do for you. Let me continue to go through here, and we're just about to close up. Yeah. So we want to ask if there are any questions that you may have. Okay, this is the time to ask questions. And also, if you're someone who has already come through, congratulations, you're one of the first 5. We already have you in the system. Now we only have a few left from what and maybe we've already sold some of those off. I haven't checked yet, but there is a link on this particular page. You're in the webinar event room page. Under the question box, if you scroll down to the bottom of the page, you will see a link that will send you into this particular area right here. It should send you directly into the sales page where you can actually come in and purchase this campaign. Let me just make sure. Let me go in there and just make sure if I click it, where it sends me.
Yep, that takes you to the landing page that kind of gives you all of the more information, and then from there is the purchase link.
Yeah, you can click on the join the done for you beta from there. So if you can either go to bit.ly/EW Infusionsoft access, what's on the screen here, bit.ly/EW Infusion access, sorry, yeah, EW Infusion access, or just simply click on the link right below the question box on that particular page, and it will bring you directly into that page. Okay, so you can do that, and that'll give you the access. Now let me see what questions we may have here. I see some questions rolling in. Cool. So Richard Hart, let's see, Richard is, let me just read what he's saying. Hi, this is from Richard. Hi, I've built my sales funnel on Kajabi platform. I'm in the process of setting up EasyWebinar, mentalmoneymastery.com. I wonder if you and Systemly would be interested in partnering up. Okay. Well, I'm not sure about partnering up. Let me see. I provide, I can, the sales and we get, you know what, this might be, Richard, we're not doing any sort of partnership with anyone about this. You would have to, of course, pay the $3,000 if you want us to do the funnel building. I think what I'm reading here is you're wondering if you can pay it off through the sales, and that's unfortunately not what we do. I pay you $3,000 fee off the sales. So right. So we can't do that, unfortunately. But we can certainly, of course, if you pay the service fee, we can set that up for you. But chances are, you'll have success from it after that. So you'll be able to make back your money. John Lee Dumas and a few others make $3,000 to $5,000 a day on their automated webinars, just as an FYI. Now, I'm not saying that that's going to happen for you. Because it doesn't happen like that for everyone. We have customers that are making $300 to $500 a day on their automated webinars. Okay, even then, though, within a week you would make your money back, right? In that regard, yeah. So just realize that if you had a simple Facebook campaign driving traffic into an automated webinar, which I do every single day, and that on that automated webinar you sell, let's say 11% conversion, right? You will be making your money back, especially if your product pricing is anywhere between, I'd say $250 to $1,000. You're definitely going to be making your money back. Okay. I say that because I'm basing it on what we've done. I have to, but full disclosure, that's, you have to follow everything, and we have to build this out for you and things like that. Craig, who actually is one of the first 5, I'm one of the first 5, just joined this webinar. Anything I need to know? Craig, well, first off, congratulations on being one of the 5, buddy. Really appreciate it. I know that you said you had another bit of training that you had to do, and you were just finishing up. The only thing you need to know is that I think you've already set up a time to talk to Greg directly. Yep. We're going to be getting essentially the assets together and getting the login and start working together on what we're going to be doing for you, right? So we're going to figure out which campaign you want to focus on. We're going to give you the suggestion of what we suggest based on what Greg figures out with you, and then go from there. So I would say the best thing to do is just have maybe some of your login information, just have a conversation with Greg so we can figure out where you're at with what you've already created and established. And then that's where you're going to go from. Right. So I think that he's already lined up to talk to you, right, Greg, later on today? Okay.
Yep. I believe it's later today.
Okay. So Craig, Craig, awesome. Craig said, I'm beyond excited. Awesome, buddy. We're excited too. We're really excited to kind of work with you. We're excited to have you as a case study, excited to kind of build this out for you. So yeah, this is going to be fun. This is a new venture for Greg and I. Greg is such a smart guy that I knew immediately that I wanted to do this. And, this is something that with Infusionsoft that I've been meaning to do. And Greg, being one of the top Infusionsoft kind of authorities, I kind of look at him and like, 6th division and kind of at the same kind of level here, being one of these top Infusionsoft consultants, you're going to get the best of both worlds. So, okay. So Nicole is saying, hi, Nicole, how are you? Nicole is saying, when you talk about the dollar amount success of the webinars, is this solely off the upsells, or do most of the webinars charge a fee to attend? Okay, Nicole, that's a great question. It's not on the upsells. It's actually, some of it can be on upsells, but most of it comes from actually selling on a webinar, okay? It's not that you charge for the webinar, because oftentimes you would have that webinar for free. It's a free workshop that people come to. You then take the opportunity of those 45 minutes to an hour or to an hour and a half, depending on how long it is, to build a know, like, and trust with your customers or potential customers. And then that's when you finally sell them into your coaching, your coaching program, your service, your online, product, your physical product, whatever you have. That's when you sell them. You sell them on the webinar itself. The upsell, quote unquote, the upsell is more of if you're sending them somewhere else after that. But on a webinar, there are less upsells on a webinar, and I'll tell you why. Because a webinar is an experience to where you can sell higher ticket price items compared to say like a sales funnel that has like what are known as kind of tripwires, where you maybe start off at $7 and then upsell into $17 or $27 and upsell into $47 and upsell into up and up and up. Instead of that, to me, that gets really complex and complicated. What I like is a webinar funnel, because I have this experience where I can give you 45 minutes to an hour of my time, teach you something of value, and you can then say, you know what, I want to take action and get this product. And it's normally a higher priced product because this is my time devoted to you, is your time in making the decision to come through and take action. So that's why webinar funnels, to me, are the best funnels out there, because they can sell typically a higher ticket price, normally a much higher ticket price. I've seen webinars as you are on this one right now that sells a $3,000 package, anywhere from like $197 all the way to $5,000. Some do even $25,000 packages, depending on what they're offering, right? The webinar is just an experience that allows you to sell those products better and easier, and oftentimes they're a much higher ticket price. Hope that makes sense. Richard, you and I, we can talk about that, but this is, I think right now we first want to get clarity on our 5 that are coming through. So, okay, are there any other questions? Any other questions right now? Anyone? And if there aren't, I just want to say thank you so much for everyone who came through. Again, there are only 5 slots available for this $3,000 offer that we're making. And I believe 2 of them are already gone. Mm-hmm. Maybe more. I have to check to see the most recent people that came through, but 2 of them are already gone. And so there's only a few left, and we are extending this till Thursday. After all 5 are gone, if we don't shut the cart down or change the price on the cart by that time, and you still get in, but you're not one of the 5, we're going to either A, refund you, or B, allow you to allocate that money that you paid to a second round of discount that we're only going to be offering to you. Okay, we're not actually going to make that public. The public is still going to be $7,500, but to you, it's going to be a 40% discount. You'll have to just pay the difference between what you pay now and what equivocates to 40% of a discount. Right now, it's a 60% discount coming through currently. If that makes sense. This makes sense. I know it's kind of like a lot of crazy numbers, but for those who come through, as I said, this is a 60% discount. It's $3,000 to get the services that we're mentioning, the 3 campaigns rolled into your system to work one-on-one with Greg, one-on-one with his team, one-on-one with my team to build out a complete webinar funnel, which, yes, based on obviously some of the things that, as Richard just pointed out, you could make, of course, $10,000 on one webinar, one say possible webinar funnel that we're building out here. So just realize that it's these are kind of the creme de la creme of webinar funnels. Oh, and Nicole said, yes, that makes perfect sense. Awesome, Nicole. Thank you so much. And if you want to get access, you can either go to this bit.ly/EW Infusion access link, or go to the bottom of the page right below the question box, and you will see the link that you can click on to come on through. Okay. This is, as I said, is going to be only available. It's really only available for the first 5. We're extending it till Thursday, but if all 5 come in, well, actually the rest, if the 3 left come in today, we're probably going to shut it down today. So just realize we're basing it more so on if the slots fill up today. Okay. Just realize that. So if all the slots fill up, we're going to probably just shut it down early and send out a message saying, hey, this deal is already closed down, but if you want to, get on the list for when we go live to the public, you can do so. Okay. That's the plan of action for this. So unfortunately, I can't guarantee that you're going to be one of the 5, but coming through now and purchasing is going to be locking you into that. Okay. So I would suggest taking action right now and coming on through. It's going to be at the bottom of the page. I'm going to bring myself back in. Hey there. I'm back in, and Greg is also back in. So Greg, I just want to thank you, of course, for coming in today to do this with me, to kind of talk to everybody. And for those of you who have already decided to make the commitment and are going to be working with us, Greg has already set up that intake call. Craig, I'm excited. We're excited to work with you. And a couple, and I can't remember. Oh, I know. Oh, it was Darren. Darren, you were the other one that came through already. So Darren, you guys are already in. Cool. So yeah. Anything else that you want to add, Greg, before we finish up? This is not a beer, by the way. It's cold brew coffee. I just want to make a point of that. Greg was like, "Are you drinking beer?" Oh no, this is cold brew coffee, everyone.
Well, because it was 11 a.m. when we started talking for you. No, I mean, we're really excited to get this service going. I think it's going to be really helpful to people that want to get the most out of their webinars. Obviously, those that are using both EasyWebinar and Infusionsoft. So yeah, we're excited to work with you guys, Craig, Darren. Talk to you guys soon, and hopefully some of the other guys join and we get to work with you as well.
Yeah, it is the time to come on through, because we can't guarantee that all 5 won't get filled up pretty quick. So I know that Kim Beasley was another person that made that said she was interested in doing it. It could be that this fills up pretty quick. So I just want to thank everybody. You are all amazing. Thank you for coming in and taking time with us. Hopefully this makes sense to you. And we will, of course, see you on the inside. Can't wait to work with you directly to just make your webinars awesome, just to start really using the full potential of your Infusionsoft and EasyWebinar together. I know what I was going to do. I was actually going to share a bit of the back office of kind of how EasyWebinar works as it relates to Infusionsoft. So let me do that very quickly. Just to show that to you right before we take off here. So desktop 1, here we go. So I'm going to share with you this particular funnel right here. Okay, let me click on here. Okay, so the Infusionsoft integration is really, really cool. It works like this, and this is kind of some of the things you're going to be learning with us. The Infusionsoft integration can tell you who registers, came to the webinar, watched the full presentation, who did not come, who left early, who clicked on an action button, watched a replay, or asked a question. Now, in Infusionsoft, there are things called tags that we're going to be connecting up with some of these existing tags of EasyWebinar. And this is what we're going to be doing for you. We're going to be, creating these funnels for you. So just realize that you would have tags that would associate to these different actions here, as well as on the event page for, say, when you offer your when you have your offer pop up, right? So let's say you have your offer pop up at 3 seconds. Normally you'd have an offer pop up at like 45 minutes, right? Let's see. I think I have this one right here. Yeah, so you may have like an offer pop up at 45 seconds. It would be a buy now offer. And you could associate an Infusionsoft tag such as saw but did not click. Okay, these are kind of the things that we do for you here. We'll set these up and create the tags for you. So you'd set that up to where campaign actions would be based upon these actions here. They clicked on the event, but maybe didn't. They clicked on it, but and then took action, or saw it but didn't click, right? So this is kind of the granular stuff that Infusionsoft and EasyWebinar Together can do. I just wanted to share that with you so that you understand how it integrates. All right. So it's a little more hands-on for you, so you really get a better feel for this, right? And that you don't have to have Infusionsoft to use EasyWebinar, but if you are someone who has EasyWebinar and Infusionsoft, that's where this is really, really going to be ultra powerful for you. So again, I just wanted to quickly show that, not to overwhelm you, but to simply say, this is what we're going to be doing for you.
Giddy up.
Awesome. Okay. Well, thanks everybody. We will talk to you very soon. Greg, you are a scholar.
Thank you, my friend.
I'll talk to you soon. Start growing that hair out more, get really curly, and we'll see all the people that joined. Again, it's under the question box on this particular page. All the people that did join, we will see you on the inside, and excited to do the intake calls with you. So thanks again, and we'll talk to you soon. You can stay on this page after we stop this broadcast. I believe that's what's going to happen, or go and sign up below. All right. See you later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.